Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. Today, we are on the road on our way to Nebraska. We are super excited to bring you another podcast on the road. This is an NBA edition because the NBA starts on Tuesday. Dylan, what are the teams who play on Tuesday? You told me earlier, but I can't remember.
It is.
What do you got? Who's playing? Who's kicking us off?
We got the Lakers at the defending champs, Denver Nuggets. And we got the Suns at the Warriors Tuesday.
So, great matchups to start the NBA season for us. So, super excited. So, that's why this podcast is coming out before. We're going to give our pre-season picks of who we think is going to be 10 through 1. That's the order that we're going to do it in just because, we got to leave the excitement for the first team for last. Because if we go 1 through 10, then you're like, oh, well, I don't care after 5 or 6. You know what I mean? So, it just makes it more interesting, more exciting. We're a Pat Carn here, so that's why we've got a lot of stuff. But we are excited to bring you this episode. Dylan's super excited. He said he can't wait for the NBA to start, right?
Absolutely.
So he's ready. Dan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dan is ready for this. So, we always got to start in the East and work our way to the West. But, the East is, getting as good as the West used to be and has been. So, the East is catching up and doing some work. But with that being said, I'm going to go through, and before we get started, go through the teams and what position they were last year, just to kind of get everybody's idea flowing. I'm going to be writing our picks down to help us so then we're not like, oh, what team have I not said yet? It'll be easier for all of us to do. There he is. And so, starting in the East, the Bucks were number 1, Celtics were 2, 76ers were 3, Cavs 4, Knicks 5, Nets 6, Heat 7, Hawks 8, Raptors 9, Bulls 10, and just outside were the Pacers at 11. Going to the West, you've got the defending champions, the Denver Nuggets at 1, Grizzlies at 2, Kings at 3, Suns at 4, Clippers at 5, Warriors at 6, Lakers at 7, Timberwolves at 8, Pelicans at 9, Thunder at 10, and just outside the Dallas Mavericks at 11. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start in the East. I will go ahead and give my pick who I think's going to be, well, I was trying here. Well, that's just not going to work. You know what? It's okay. Just trying to find the right angle here. Gents, well, I would go here, but it's a little shaky. For number 10, let's see, I gotta have my phone pulled up. For number 10, who I think is gonna make the play-in tournament. When you're looking at all the teams, I can't talk right now, Mason. I'm making a podcast, but I will call you as soon as I can. If it's emergency, call me back. At number 10, I'm gonna go with the Orlando Magic. Dylan, who do you have at number 10?
Number 10, torn between 2 or 3 teams right now, but if I had to pick one at the 10th spot, I would go with the Chicago Bulls.
Going with the Bulls. All right. What about you, Dan? Who do you have at number 10?
The Charlotte Hornets.
Hornets. All right. We all got a different number 10, so this is going to be an interesting list to start out. At number 9, we'll go with you again, Dan. Who do you have at number 9?
Let's see. I would say I'll go with the Chicago Bulls.
It's going to go with the Bulls at number 9. All right, Dylan, who do you got number 9?
Number 9, I have my Indiana Pacers.
Oh, wow. He's going with the Pacers at number 9.
Looking forward to seeing what they can do this year. First half last year was very exciting and fun to watch. It kind of fell off a little bit, but they addressed the issues they needed to, issues and what positions they needed to get stronger at. I felt they did as good a job as they could have for the spot that they're currently in. So hoping and looking forward to the season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was a great explanation of why you put them there. but I'm going to go with you know what? I'm going to go with the Pacers as well. I feel like they could have done a better job, and so I think it's really going to show unless they decide to make some trades before the deadline. For my number 8 pick, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. Dan, who do you have at number 8?
Go with the New York Knicks.
Home with the Knicks. He's got them dropping down from a 5 seed last year to an 8 seed.
Yeah, they're trash.
All right, Dylan, what about you?
At 8, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks. Hopefully Murray and Young are able to get into their groove this year, figure out who needs to do what in terms of ball handling, bringing up the ball, all that stuff, who's taking the final shot. The loss of John Collins, I think will play a factor at the beginning of the season. I think X factor for the Hawks in order for them to get to that was 8. We're on 8, right?
Yeah, 8
To
seed.
get
Yep.
to 8 is whether or not DeAndre Hunter can make a step up this year. He's been a player I've been following the last couple of years, and he has promise. So we just need to see him get his chance to shine. So hopefully this is the year he can become the true number 3 for the team.
Absolutely. You know, I love the basketball knowledge you were spitting out here. You know, kind of giving a little bit reasons why they're dropping or where you really believe that they are going to be. So now move on to the 7th pick, which still doesn't secure you a spot in the playoffs because the 7 through 10 is the playing tournament. So for number 7, I'm going to go I'm going to go the Nets here. What you got, Dan?
The Pacers. Number 7.
Pacers, number 7. He's putting him a little higher. Still in the playing tournament, but a little higher. What about you, Dylan?
I am going to go with the Orlando Magic. They got a really bright future in terms of their bigs. That's no diss on their guards. They have a lot of promising young guard play down in Orlando. It's just a matter of figuring out, I think, who needs to play when and how they're going to divide up the minutes between Suggs, Fultz, and Cole Anthony. So it'll be interesting to follow them this year. Really good, promising young team.
Very true. So now we get into who is going to be 1 through 6. Who's going to make the playoffs? That doesn't, because 7 through 10 is, well, you didn't have the best record, but you still got to play another game or two to decide whether you can still get in and compete with the teams 1 through 6 who, really played this regular season to their best of their abilities and were able to lock down a spot so then they don't have to play that extra game or 2. So we are going to start with Dylan here. What team do you have that is guaranteed a lock into the playoffs for the 2023-2024 season?
So I'm actually going to flip my 6 and 7. So I'm going to have the Magic
Can't do that.
as my 6. And that team that's going to be going back to that 7th spot, I have the Brooklyn Nets. They lost all of their true stars last year, but I feel that Claxton is an emerging star in terms of his defensive and rebounding capabilities. Cam Thomas is another really solid guard in this league, and Mikal Bridges is one of my favorite players to watch. He's one of the true 5-tool NBA players in the league that I believe displays above average each of those traits. So I think, yeah.
Yep, the Orlando Magic at number 6. Like you said, they've got a lot of pieces. They should be there. I know that's kind of why I put the Nets number 7, because when I was looking, I was like, wait a second. They barely were the 6th seed. So I don't think they're going to be anywhere as good as they were last year with the superstars that they have. Ben Simmons is looking pretty good in preseason, but that's preseason. He always looks good in preseason. But my number 6, I would have to put gets harder once you get here. I'm going to put the Knicks at number 6. What about you, Dan?
So I would say I was thinking for a second Toronto, but I can see them just outside the top 10. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks. I feel like they're always a solid, like between a 4 seed, 5 seed. I think they may drop a little bit, so they'll be a 6 seed for this year with Trae Young.
Absolutely. I love it, guys. I mean, our orders have been so different, which is awesome because we just don't know how the season's going to play out. But then we go to the number 5 spot. At the number 5 spot, give me the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that's a great team, but I just think there are a few better teams above them that are going to play a little bit better during the regular season. Doesn't mean that they'll go to second round, third round. Who knows? You know, the higher level seeds could get bounced out first round. But I'm going Cavs. They got a great roster. I think they're a hell of a team. You know, I think it just, you know, with all the pieces they have, it takes a year or two to develop to really see where you are and then able to get to that next level. So, Dylan, who do you have at your number 5?
The 5 position, I have the 76ers. Joel Embiid, don't need to say much there. Defending MVP, an absolute beast on the court, but it is looking right now like James Harden will not be playing and will eventually be shipped off. So I think I'm putting them at 5 because you don't know what point in the season, if they do decide to trade Harden, what they're going to get. I believe Maxey in a couple of years can be a solid 2 option, but I think he still has some room to grow, which is why I don't have him as what most people would, the 3 or 4 seed.
I understand. What about you, Dan?
I like the choice of Cleveland as well. Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell. They have a good overall team, so I'll put them ahead of the back 5 of the top 10. So yeah, I'll go with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Absolutely. Now we go 1 through 4. These are the teams who really fought well, played hard, you know, got those wins, nitty-gritty during the regular season, and put them in a spot, you know, to play the lower level of the team who didn't do so hot during the regular season. Dan, I'm going to go you again here. Who do you have at number 4?
So I think the 76ers will take the 4th seed, kind of like what Dylan was saying, that they're a good overall team with Joel Embiid, you know, with his capability and ability to conquer and dominate the court. But yeah, same thing with James Harden. So definitely 76ers. I forget what seed they were last year, but maybe a 3 seed.
They were a 3 seed.
Yeah, so I feel like they're taking a small step back. We'll see how they do.
I agree with you there. I am going to have to put the 76ers there as well as my 4 seed. You just don't know what James Harden's going to do, and if they do trade him, what pieces do they get for him? I've always been a Tobias Harris fan. You know, I think Doc Rivers, you know, he does kind of, you know, choke in Game 7s and hasn't won many chips, but maybe they can.
Did they fire him? Doc Rivers?
They did, yeah.
They did fire him.
They fired
Okay,
him.
so I don't know who the coach is, but whoever it is, fresh start. So I'm putting 76ers at number 4. What about you, Dylan?
At number 4, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Really solid guard play. You can make the case for them, the best front court, maybe behind Golden State.
Yeah.
Garland and Mitchell really complement each other well. They don't really take too much away from one another. They also have a couple of really good big men, but I feel like this is the year where Jared Allen has to figure out his role with the team, and that team has to figure out their role with Jared Allen. I don't think if they can't make it past the second round this year, I think they may look to move on from him and maybe build around Garland, Mitchell, and what's his name, Evan Mobley. So that'll be something to keep your eye on.
Absolutely, it sure will. Like I said, now we get into the top 3 picks where these are more of the contenders of these 3 positions. One of these teams are more than likely going to make the NBA finals. For my third seed, I've got the Miami Heat. And I've got the Miami Heat there because of the way that Jimmy Butler just carries himself. He carries the Miami Heat, the teams that he plays on. The Miami Heat are dogs, man. Tyler Hero in the offseason, everything. Everybody just thought, they were going to get Damian Lillard. They really just thought that, they were going to have to give up so many pieces, to get Damian Lillard. Obviously, he goes to Milwaukee Bucks. It was like a 3-team trade or whatever. I don't remember all the details in the trade. But, the Miami Heat, develop their players. They play well. I think they're going to do really good this year, and especially Emo Jimmy. He's going to come out. I'm not going to say it.
Say it.
He's going to come out slicing and dicing. But that's why this video is not made for kids. But anyways, I think the Miami Heat are going to make a strong case and a run to the finals. But I have them as a third seed. What about you, Dylan?
So it's kind of hard without writing it down, looking off a phone. So everyone's going to be pushed down one spot. So sorry, Chicago, you're going to be pushed out. The Heat are the team I forgot about. So I'm going to put the Heat in at the 3 spot. Jimmy Butler speaks for himself. I think Bam has a little more room for growth. I think we're going to see that over the next 2-3 years as he really comes into it. Tyler Hero, he's going to need to average close to 20 points, I believe, in order for them to get to this 3 spot.
He did break his hand, so
he did break his hand. Should be healthy come start of the season. Who all did they bring in? I know they lost Strus and a couple other key players in that championship run last year.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the roster to be honest with you.
But yeah, look, if Tyler Hero can get around 20 points a game and Bam can improve his game with just a little bit more, I believe the Miami Heat have what it takes to get the 3 seed.
All right, Dan, that leaves you. Who's your third seed?
So yeah, either way, like if I was gonna pick first before you guys, like I was gonna say the Miami Heat. So yeah, I mean both you guys said it all, so I don't really need to explain much. But they made the championship last year. But I do think my top 2 teams, which might be similar to what you guys have, one way or another. Yeah. But yeah, the Miami Heat for sure. They make the finals, they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, whichever. But yeah, Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, they'll definitely be in the top 3 this year.
So that leaves 2 spots left, and just like Dan said, they may be the same, they may be flip-flops. I think they'll be the same, but I think Dan might be a little bit different. We'll see, though, because I feel like me and Dylan are thinking the same thing. I don't know, but Dylan, who do you have at number 2?
So at number 2, I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. And then before I get into that reasoning, like I said, everything's scooted down 1, so I have the Knicks at the 4. So everyone gets pushed down again.
Okay, Dylan.
But,
Dylan.
Sorry, but yeah, the Knicks, I think for them to get the 4 seed, the only thing they need to figure out is consistency. They definitely have the depth to be a 4 seed in my eyes. I believe they were 4 last year, right? Or 5?
The Knicks were a 5 seed last year.
Okay, so I think they make a little bit more improvement this year with Randall and Brunson improving their game. I don't see Randall falling off at all. Key contributors like Quentin Grimes, just guys like that, they can spread the floor. That's why I think they'll be the 4 seed. But yeah, like I said, Milwaukee Bucks, 2 seed. Obviously, the addition of Damian Lillard is very big plus, but they are at the same time losing an all-star in Drew Holiday, who brings a great defensive presence. But I think the 2 will offset each other pretty evenly.
All right. Well, Dan, I saw you over there. I don't know how the reaction was, but do you guys have the same number 2?
We do, yeah. Dylan kind of nailed it. Obviously, Milwaukee could be a 1 seed, but I feel like Giannis and Damian Lillard will need some time for their chemistry to build. Obviously, they'll have the whole season, but obviously they're strong enough, like I said, to make the finals, or at least the Eastern Conference Finals. But definitely 2 seed, slightly behind the number 1 seed.
I was wrong. Me and Dylan were not thinking the same thing. Dan and Dylan were thinking the same thing. The double Ds were on the same page. I've got the Boston Celtics at number 2. Now, not to say that these can't flip 1 and 2. They more than likely can. I just think the Celtics are going to be number 2 because I see the Damian Lillard and the Bucks just working out chemistry just a little bit better than I do Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Porzingis. I think both these teams are going to be phenomenal to watch. I think they're going to be a great matchup. I think every time they play, it's going to be, a close game every single time. But I like what the Celtics can do. I think they're right there. But like I said, the reason I put the Celtics number 2 is because I want Dame to see it. I want to see Damian Lillard get a ring. I want to see him get a ring before he retires. Him going to Milwaukee was the best decision that could have happened in the trade, and I think that if he could potentially get a ring this year, or maybe it does take him another year to get a ring. Like I said, it always takes these teams 1 or 2 years to really play together to see where they're at. But that's why I'm putting the Celtics 2, and that's why I'm putting the Bucks number 1, because I'm a Dame fan, and I really hope that he makes it to the finals this year. So go ahead, Dan. Why do you have the Boston Celtics at number 1?
Who said it was going to be the Boston Celtics now? Definitely the Boston Celtics. I feel like they have just a good overall, coaching system where basically they play team ball and they still have their core intact with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then they have the addition of Kristaps Porzingis. I feel like overall they're just a solid team. I think they still have Al Horford, getting up in age, but he's a solid player.
Spreads the floor.
Yep. So overall, I think the Celtics, play team ball, and they will definitely get the 1 seed. Obviously, the Bucks, are up there, so like I said, we can see them flip flop, but I'll take the team ball to go number 1. So the Celtics number 1 for me.
Yep. So to no one's surprise, I also have Boston Celtics finishing with the 1 seed in the East. I've been able to watch a couple of their preseason games, and that 4-headed monster they have with Tatum, Brown, Holiday, and Porzingis, they really do cover every area of the court.
They got Robert Williams too, right? Still
Traded.
Yeah.
He is on Portland now.
Oh wow, he got traded.
Yeah,
Wow.
Part of the Drew trade.
Oh, okay. That would have been even more link for him though. Holy cow.
But yes, I believe that will be too much for teams to guard. I mean, every guy can shoot a 3. Every guy can back someone down, hit a mid-range when needed. And then the addition of guys like Pritchard, Horford, and Devin White, is that his name?
Derek White?
Derek White. Will just be the cherry on top. Pretty good front office, pretty good coach. And yeah, but just alleviate the confusion since I moved some teams around. So starting from 10 to 1, I have Bulls at the 10, Pacers at the 9. I have the Nets at the 8, the Hawks at the 7, the Sixers at the 6, the Cavs at the 5, Knicks at the 4, Heat at the 3, Bucks at the 2, and Celtics at the 1.
No more changes.
Clear up the confusion.
So you took the Magic out of there then?
Oh crap!
Stop it.
Look at this guy.
Okay,
No changes, no.
Replace the Magic with
The Nets.
Nets. Yes.
The Nets. That makes sense. I potentially don't see the Nets being a playoff team. If anything, they're hovering right at that 10-11 seed.
I also wanted to put the Raptors in there, but with the loss of Van Vliet and them already finishing 9th in the East last year, going 41-41, I do believe they'll move on. A couple big names such as OG Anunoby, potentially Siakam, and their whole team is pretty much consistent of big men and guys who can shoot 3s all day, and that at the end of the day, that's not enough to win enough basketball games to make even a play in the NBA. So I wanted to put them in there, but my heart told me no.
Now we go to the West. Wild, Wild West.
Oh God.
This is going to be harder. It always is. But I want to give a notable shout out to the San Antonio Spurs because I want to put them number 10, but they're going to be number 11. I don't think they'll make it in because there are so many good teams in the West, but I'm just going to put a notable, just me personally, maybe you guys have them. You have Victor, making the play-in tournament, potential the playoffs in his first season. Don't know if that's going to happen, but just wanted to get that out of the way there. But my number 10 team, I'm going to go with the Timberwolves.
I need time.
Well, Dan's on the clock, so you have time.
I'm gonna go with the Thunder.
Ooh.
I'm not sure what they got last year. They may have been outside the top 10 a little bit.
They were number 10, actually.
They were number 10. Okay, so we're gonna maintain that stability. They may have improved during the draft, but I like them as a 10 seed. I'm not sure if that gives Dylan enough time, but if Riley, if you could just go from top the 10 to the 1 from last year, like the playoffs.
Yeah,
just so
absolutely.
We can refresh our.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick for you. So, 10 was the Thunder, 9 is the Pelicans, 8 was the Timberwolves, 7 was the Lakers, 6 was the Warriors, 5 was the Clippers, 4 Suns, 3 Kings, 2 Grizzlies, and 1 the Nuggets. So with that being said, who do you have in number 10, Dylan?
So number 10, I have the Pelicans.
Ooh,
Now,
all right.
I think as a team as a whole, they will make improvements this year, even though they'll be dropping from 9 last year to 10 this year. I think that this speaks for how competitive the West is.
Zion's back, baby.
Hopefully we get a full season of Zion. Hopefully he can kind of run the show over there. I know there's been off-the-court issues with him, but hopefully he stays healthy, and if so, I see no reason why they can't make the play-in.
All right. So who do you have at number 9 then, Dan?
So I want to see. Let's see.
The Mavericks didn't make it in last year.
That's what I was gonna say.
Neither
Like,
did
so
the
who,
Jazz.
Yeah. So who didn't make it in? So the Mavericks didn't make it.
Jazz, Trailblazers, Rockets, and Spurs.
Okay. So I'll say I can see Dallas for sure getting in the top 10.
Are they number 9?
I'm thinking if they
You're gonna put the
are
Pelicans,
not
you're gonna put the
9, they
T-Wolves
could
down
be
there?
8. So I'm gonna go with the Dallas Mavericks as number 9.
Kyrie did resign. We'll see how him and Luka do. What do you have at number 9? You have the Mavericks at 9.
I do.
You do have the Mavericks.
I do have the
at 9.
Mavericks. It's really tough. There's a couple teams I see having a lot of growth this year. Not to say that the Mavericks aren't a good team, but really outside of Irving and Doncic, they don't really have a whole lot of pieces.
They got Christian Wood.
They got no, he's on the Lakers.
Oh yeah, he is now. Sorry,
Outside
guys.
of those two guys, I just don't see enough pieces. Enough to get into the play-in, but not enough to get any higher than that. And that's not to say that Doncic and Irving won't have issues sharing the spotlight too. That could also play a factor into why I think they'll be number 9 this year.
It's very possible. I got a hot take, and this is my number 9. The Memphis Grizzlies. Losing Ja for 25 games is going to hurt them more than they realize. Yes, they sometimes do win games without Ja being in the lineup, but I think it's really going to affect him with how good the West is and with Zion coming back and just all these other things that are happening. You added, Dylan Brooks? You added Dylan Brooks, which...
No, they traded.
They traded Dylan Brooks.
No, they traded...
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart. So, sorry, guys. So, that's who's going to, have to step up. Desmond Bane's going to step up. Jared Jackson Jr. is going to step up. But I just believe that the Grizzlies are going to, they may not finish in, could finish 8, but I just don't see them, locking down a playoff spot this year. So let me write down Grizzlies. All right, who do you have at number 8, Dan?
I'll have the Pelicans. I think you guys had them as possibly number 9 or whatnot. So Pelicans, Zion, if he stays healthy the whole year. But I mean, they have a good team overall. I think Brandon Ingram is still with them. Yeah, I just don't see them really finishing higher than an 8th seed. Possibly, yeah. I mean, at the most a 7, but no, they're definitely an 8th seed in my opinion in the book. So I'll just say that they are the number 8 seed for the West.
For my 8th seed, I'm going to go Dallas Mavericks here. You know, kind of what Dylan was saying. They don't have the most amount of pieces. Yeah, Luka and Maverick, they're going to do a great job. Or they may not. They might blow up. I don't know. But, you know, I like watching both those superstars. They're some of my favorites in the league. So, but with just not having as many pieces as other teams do, that's why I put them at 8. Dylan, who do you have at number 8?
Number 8 might not be as big of a hot take as you think. I have the Memphis Grizzlies. With Ja missing 25 games to start off the year, I don't think that's going to help them any at all. I know Dylan Brooks is gone, and that's going to alleviate some of the off-court tension between players, but I just feel like their whole team, there's something that we don't know that's going on in there, and I believe there's other issues going on within that, and I think that will show on the court alongside with Ja's suspension, why they dropped from 2 to 8.
Yeah, that's a big drop. So who do you have at number 7 then, Dylan?
At 7, I have the Los Angeles Lakers.
Ooh, they were a 7th seed last year as well, so he's got them staying right where they are.
With Iguodala retiring today, LeBron is now officially the oldest player in the game. That's still no takeaway, no disrespect to him. He is one of the greatest all time to do it. And then with guys like Anthony Davis, obviously his resume speaks for himself, and and Reeves as well. Big off season and bringing in Wood. Who's the guy from the Heat they got? Was it Strus went to Cleveland? Who went to?
They got the other guy.
Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent, I believe that will help. Guys like Jared Vanderbilt. I believe they have enough pieces to make the play-in, and obviously, more than likely, they would be the team to come out of that play-in and make it into the playoffs.
All right. What about you, Dan? Who do you have at the 7th seed? Are you going Lakers as well?
Nope.
You going Timberwolves? They were 8th seed last year.
I know. Honestly, I was definitely really thinking about while Dylan was talking with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I think with I'm gonna go with the Memphis Grizzlies, as you guys mentioned. I think in your last pick or so, Memphis Grizzlies, you know, with Ja missing that time, and I think they have a good team overall. But yeah, they were 2 seed last year, but I definitely think that they will drop. You know, losing some of the pieces and with Ja being out, so I'm gonna have them. It's a 7 or 6. 7.
That would be number 7.
7 pick.
I like it, guys. I think, you know, 7 through 10, you know, like I said, those are the teams that just, you know, have gotten a little bit better, or, you know, maybe gotten a little bit worse, and that's why they are where they are to be at the end of the regular season. My number 7, I'm going to put the Thunder there. And I think, you know, with Chet coming back, you know, Thunder, they have a lot of draft pieces going into, you know, the next year's draft and the year after that and the year after that. But I think, you know, they're going to be a really good team with the way that they're developing, and with them being around the same age, and, you know, them being one of the youngest teams in the league, you know, and their coach, you know, he's pretty good. I think the Thunder have a lot more. I think they're going to give a lot of teams a more run for their money than they think, and I'm super excited to watch that go down. So for the number 7 seed for me, I've got the Thunder, and I'll carry on with me as well, and I'll go into the 6th seed. I've got the it really depends, you know, my 6 and 5 could potentially flip-flop, but I'm going to go with number 6. I'm going to go the Los Angeles Lakers at number 6. I think the Lakers are going to play really well. You know, AD had in his preseason game, but he had 5 blocks in 9 minutes. You know, if he can stay healthy, that's great. Just like Dylan said, they've they had a really good offseason. You know, they paid Austin Reeves. You know, they've got so many pieces that if this is the year to go back to the chip, it would be this year. And I just don't think that they'll be a very high seed with, you know, these other teams with how good they are. But I still do think that, you know, they could make a run to the NBA Finals. As your 6th seed, Dan, who do you have?
So this is where I'll have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ooh.
I think they have a solid overall team, and like I said, I can see them kind of being up there. So I think they can take a step up and, you know, kind of win a series or two in the West, but it is a tough competition. They could be higher if they were in the East, but yeah, definitely they have a good team, but I'll have them as the 6th.
Good pick. I have them a lot lower, so that's crazy. You know, we all have different opinions. Who do you have at your 6th seed, Dylan?
6, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Ooh.
I think this is a team that takes a huge step this year. Shea is my favorite player to watch in the league. He can give you 30 almost every night. You got Giddey, who's good for 10 to 15 triple-doubles a season.
Yep.
You got the 7-foot monster Chet coming back. Excited to see what he can do this year, as well as both of the Jalen Williams and just contributing factors all over the court. So I think they take a step this year, and I think they shock a lot of people.
Absolutely agreed there. Now we go into the top 5. Top 5 teams of the West. This is going to be crazy. At my number 5, I'm going to go the Pelicans. With Zion back, baby, I like Zion a lot. I think he's a good player if he can stay healthy. You know, we say that about freaking every player as long as they can stay healthy. But I love Brandon Ingram. He's a dog. I love CJ McCollum. I love the pieces that they have on this team. You know, I really do think that they can make some noise, you know, and get out of the first round. So I'm going the Pelicans as my 5th seed. Who do you have at your 5th seed, Dylan?
5th seed, I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
Curry
Pretty low.
Curry is still at the top of his game. Sadly, can't really say the same for Clay. He's still a solid player for you most nights. The loss of Poole.
The addition of Chris Paul.
You lose some youth there and some good shooting. Draymond's still going to give you what he's been given every night for the last 7-8 years. The addition of Chris Paul will be great. Used to be my favorite player, but
Yeah, I think he slows down the Warriors a little bit.
yeah, I don't love the fit, especially if they're going to be starting Paul instead of bringing him off the bench. I think that will hurt them a bit. Having Clay at the 3 or 4 some nights will hurt them as well. That's why I got him at the 5.
Makes sense. All right. What about you, Dan? Who you got at the 5?
So this is really tough. I can see the 4 and the 5 seed kind of flip-flop. I think it's definitely going to be one of the LA teams, either the Lakers or Clippers. So I'm gonna put the Lakers there. LeBron and AD. I mean, it's all about health. I can see them as a 5 seed. I can also see them dropping out of the top 8 or even the top 10, you know, depending on their health. So definitely I'm going to go with the Lakers, and I could take the 4 seed as well, just to hop into it.
Yep.
I'll put the Clippers with healthy. It's all about health, but apparently in LA, Kawhi and Paul George as the 4 seed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree there. My number 4 seed, I mean, you know, it's not that I'm stealing this pick from you, but I do think it's the Clippers as well. You know, it will just depend on, you know, them staying healthy, you know, Paul George, you know, they've got a good roster, you know, they know how to play some ball. Is Kawhi going to play more games this year? You know, that really plays a factor, but they definitely know what they need to do in order to get a chip. Will they take that next step to get to a chip? I don't know, but Like, you could potentially have them lower, but with the amount of star power that they have, and they've got a good roster, that's why I leave them at number 4. What about you, Dylan? Who do you have at your number 4?
Number 4. Oh, by the way, I just want to go out there and say I think Dan's forgetting about a specific team, and it's going to come back and bite him.
No, I know.
He's going to have to redo his whole lineup.
Nope, I'm going to keep it.
But anyways.
Yeah, we don't pull Dylan's here, all right?
But number 4, I have the Sacramento Kings.
Ooh, all right.
It's 1 seed back from last year, but they totally exceeded everyone's expectations last year.
Light the beam!
Light the beam and getting to that spot last year. Just because they're moving back a spot, I don't believe their play will deteriorate at all. Fox, huge fan of. Sabonis, obviously, used to be at the Pacers, huge fan of him. Those two really complement each other well, with a bunch of good young surrounding pieces that make for some good fun watching basketball. So I expect them to be very competitive this year.
Absolutely. I think I might have messed up because there's a team that I was, forgetting. But hey, I can't go back and change it. And if a team gets left off, then hey, it is what it is at this point.
Dan would forget the Kings.
But Dan, who do you? Let's start with Dan here. At your number 3, who do you have? These teams are really going to make a statement, to be, the top 3 teams of the West. Who do you have at number 3?
Like Dylan said, there could be a team, like you said, like the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, they were really good last year with Sabonis and Fox, and I believe they were the 3 seed last year. I think I knocked out from the Golden State Warriors. I see them drop in, so I do have the Warriors as the 3 seed. I mean, they're always at the top, even if they're not in the top 5 of the West, they're always one of the top teams. So, yeah, the Golden State Warriors are going to be the 3 seed.
Not to steal that pick, but honestly, it's going to be the same. I've got the Warriors at number 3 as well. Yes, Chris Paul is going to not – when I say slow them down, I mean they're going to bring the tempo of the game is going to be different for them when he's in the game versus when Curry's bringing up the ball and how they're running their offense. I still think that Chris Paul is a great addition. He's got great ball knowledge, movement, everything about him. He's a real great player. But, like Dylan said, Clay's not where he was. He tore his ACL. So, of course, you're never, really going to be back to where you were after you tear your ACL. But Curry's still in mid-season form. In his peak right now, so super excited to watch him again. Draymond's gonna get you there, but we'll just see what happens with this Warriors team. But I'm gonna put them at number 3. I really think that they step it up a little bit more than what they did last year. So who do you have at number 3, Dylan?
So this number 3 team, I have either tying or finishing 1 game better than the Kings, and that is the Los Angeles Clippers. I've been saying it for years. Watch out for the Clippers come playoff time.
If they're healthy.
If they can stay healthy.
I agree, man.
I've been saying it the last 2-3 years. This year, I believe it's put up or shut up.
That's what I said last year.
If it doesn't work this year, I think you got to go in a different direction. But PG and Kawhi is as good as a duo as you're going to get in this league. You got other guys such as Zubac, Bones Highland, Terrence Mann, great supporting pieces that are going to help out those superstars. And I believe if they stay healthy, they're going to beat a lot of good teams this year.
I agree with you there, man. I've been saying that about the Clippers, the past few years. I thought they'd win a chip. It hasn't worked on their cards. Maybe it is this year, and if it's not this year, like you said, then you got to move on from Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and that's probably one of the worst superstar pairing you could have put together not to win a championship. So that'll be a crazy headline there. But that leaves us with number 1 and number 2. These could flip-flop. These could be different. For my number 2, I've got to go with the Denver Nuggets. And it's not to say that they can't be a number 1 seed, but it's really hard to, with what the Suns have done and what other teams have done as well, making offseason moves too. It's always, what can we do in the offseason to beat the defending champions? Because they were the champions for a reason. They beat us last year or, on our way there. And now the Nuggets did lose some pieces. They lost Bruce Brown, this and that, whatever. But, Jokic damn near could have won MVP as well. Damn near could have been co-MVP. I mean, he is just the best big man I've ever seen play this game with my own 2 eyes. So I'm super excited to see if they can run it back. So I'm going Nuggets number 2. What about you, Dan?
I would agree. You kind of pretty much nailed it. I was thinking the same thing. The Nuggets could be the repeat 1 seed in the West, but I do think that they didn't really improve over the offseason, and they didn't. But they did lose a couple players. So yeah, I definitely have them as the 2 seed coming out of the West.
So it leaves you, Dylan. Who's at your 2 seed?
My 2 seed is the Phoenix Suns.
Ooh.
Definitely have the potential to be the 1 seed. Definitely have the potential to run away and win it all with ease. But with that being said, given KD's history, he is arguably the best player on the court, but his injuries have also lingered for many years now, and he's missed multiple games in each of the last couple seasons, and there's going to be nights where he needs the night off, whether it be to rest or injury. I also feel like at certain points in the season, their 3 superstars are going to be fighting for that ball between one another. But if they're able to push their differences aside in that aspect, I think they can definitely run the table. Definitely have the possibility to.
So that means your number 1 is the Nuggets?
Correct. Yes, I have the Nuggets at number 1. They did lose Bruce Brown to my Indiana Pacers, but when I watch the Nuggets play, it's such a cohesive, smooth, flowing offense, and it really reminds me of the Spurs with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. Just everything they do just looks so natural and so easy for them. They have guys on the wings. Pretty much everyone can hit a 3 when they need to. There's solid defense. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. are pretty much the same player in my eyes. So when one doesn't show up, the other does. Jamal Murray continues to improve his game every year. If he does that again this year, definitely see him as number 1. And Jokic, as good as it comes.
That's great reasoning on why they could potentially be the number 1 seed again. So, Dan, does that mean Phoenix Suns is number 1?
It is, yeah. The Phoenix Suns, I think, overall, are the best team in the West. Devin Booker and KD leading the way. I can see them making a run, at least for the Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals. So yeah, I do have them as the 1 seed, top seed overall in the West.
It's going to be crazy, guys. So I've got the Suns as well being the number 1 seed. Hear me out. The 3rd best player is going to guard Bradley Beal. Let me say that again for you. The 3rd best player is going to guard Bradley Beal. How insane is that? Bradley Beal is an all-star caliber player. You put him next to KD, put him next to Devin Booker. Monty Williams is that. Right? Is he still the head coach?
Is he? Monty Williams? I think so.
Correct?
Maybe. But anyways.
No.
Did he get fired?
Who is it?
Hold up for 1 second.
Hold on. We gotta look this up. Anyways.
Vogel?
Frank Vogel, yeah. No?
Son's name Frank Vogel is... Frank Vogel.
Okay, so Frank Vogel.
Frankie isn't...
Used to be a Pacers coach, was a Lakers head coach. He's got the ring with the Lakers, and, he's got that coaching experience. But I think the Suns are just more of a... I wouldn't say complete team, because they had to give up DeAndre Ayton in order to get Bradley Beal in this 3-team trade, and in order to also have added some depth players as well, because that was the biggest thing they were lacking without, getting Bradley Beal. So they've definitely put themselves in a better position after this trade than they did before it. We'll see what happens. This is our list for the NBA East and the NBA West. You never know what's going to happen. Injuries happen, trades happen, that swings things. The play-in tournament, a team plays horrible all year, they're a 10 seed, and all of a sudden they beat a 7 seed, and then bam, they're in. So super excited to watch this season. It's going to be fun. You guys will see us at some Pacers games this year. So peace out, and until next time.